What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good.
Bless
Wow.
you. Well,
Goodness.
we just started, and you're already allergic to me.
Not even a little bit. Sometimes when I vape out of my nose, it makes me sneeze.
Okay, so you got to do that for us. You got to vape out of your nose. Oh, that doesn't count. I thought you were going to inhale it through your nose.
No. I just mean if I breathe it out through my nose, sometimes it makes me sneeze. So
Too funny. All right, so thank you guys so much. For those of you who don't know who we're talking to, I have Gemini syndrome in the Savage Hot Seat tonight.
Ayo.
indeed.
Ayo.
Would you guys like to introduce yourselves to everyone?
That's Alessandro Paveri.
And that's Aaron Nostrum.
That's right.
You guys, I appreciate you making time tonight on Tuesday. Aaron, I know you had a bunch of things to do just before this, and I got a bunch of things to do afterward, which I'm going to be happily late for, which is work. Sorry, but it happens.
They'll forgive you.
You know what? Important. This matters. Okay, work doesn't matter. It's all good. So, you guys, thank you again. Welcome back. You guys just came back from being on tour in Belgium. How was that?
Well, I was on tour in Belgium with my other band, Wyote. We were not on tour. We were on tour in March, though. We were on tour.
Right, you guys have been on tour a lot lately.
Yeah, in the last year we've done a bunch of it's been new for us. We've done like a bunch of fly dates, and then we'll do usually one festival, maybe two, depending on the timing of it, and then we'll book like 4 or 5 like club shows around it. So we'll fly in somewhere. We'll get in a van, we'll drive to the hotel. But normally, like when we're doing a full-fledged tour, we're not getting a lot of hotels. We're sleeping on the bus or whatever. So it's a lot of like in and out from the van and it's almost like old school touring where we were in the van for 3 months at a time. And it was just 8 people crammed in a Ford. But the difference now is that we fly there on an airplane and then we fly home on an airplane. So it's been cool. It's a different way to tour. I don't know that I like it more than doing like a 6-week run in a bus. I don't know about you, AP. I think I prefer that, but it's cool.
I prefer the bus.
Yeah, it's cool because you get your bunk, you get your privacy, you get your reprieve from the world at large, and you don't really get that on those short little week runs. But I don't know, they're fun anyway. The shows are fun.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's
what you gotta do.
Well, yeah, that, and you can smoke freely and do everything else and get some decent food along the way instead of airplane shit.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, having a kitchen and having the access to make, whatever we make. It's true. But we'll have that at the end of this year, which is cool. We'll be on a tour with Wednesday 13 performing Murder Dolls and Infected Rain in October, November, December. And that's like 6 weeks. We'll have a vehicle for that. We'll have our nap time every day. We got to have our nap before we play a show. Otherwise, it's not going to be hardcore.
Right. And I'm a walking zombie. I never sleep. It sucks, but I'm used to it at this point. So, all right. So let's get into the regular basics we start out with. What exactly? I'm going to change this question up a little bit. What is Gemini syndrome?
Gemini syndrome is a not so secret society that plays music.
Secret, not so secret society.
Yeah, a secret, not so secret society that plays music and releases records and music videos.
Okay. And how did you come up with that name? What's the story behind that?
So if Gemini is the twins of the zodiac, and you can use that as the astrological representation of the yin and yang from Eastern thought systems. So if you have the yin yang, the balance of the universe, and then you have a syndrome, which is a combining or a uniting of traits or qualities, right? Syn in Greek means to combine or unite. So it's talking about trying to meld the polar opposites of our experience in this world. So like talking about the middle path kind of stuff, right? And trying not to go too far one way or the other, keep a balance in life.
Cool. All right, that makes sense. I actually was curious about that. And that's cool. So, how did you guys meet?
Craigslist.
Well, yeah, yeah.
No, not really Craigslist. Uh, how did we meet? So when this band first started, I had been called by the drummer and oh, sorry, messages came on the screen and distracted me.
Yeah. We have people. If anyone ever wants to ask questions, they do have. It comes up in the comments, and I'll pop them up when I see them.
So AP was living in LA as a migrant worker from Italy.
No, we were all living in LA. No, I mean, no,
I had just moved back to LA though. I was my first week back in Los Angeles, and I was recording the original songs that Gemini did, the original full length we did, which is pre-Lux. I recorded it with Mikey Doling back at Mid City Studios in LA.
Yeah.
And Brian and one of the original guitar players, Mike, had been in a band, and they had played a show, and AP had been playing bass for one of the bands that was on that bill, and they couldn't stop talking about this guy from Italy. And he wore like really baggy Dickies clothes. He looked like a tattooed, like, short gangster. He had like cornrows in your hair at the time. It was awesome, dude. He was awesome. Dockers. The different phases of AP over the years are just fascinating to me.
Yeah, I change a lot. I noticed that.
and I love it. I love you for it. And don't ever change your changing habits. It's awesome.
Don't ever change your change.
But so I remember he came in and he was like, I'm already in like 18 bands and I can't commit to it.
It's not. It's not that I was being cocky or stuff, but
no, you just didn't want to overcommit.
Yeah, exactly. No, because my goal when I moved to LA, I'm from Italy, okay? I'm from Milan. So when I moved to LA, my goal was I'm gonna go to LA. I just wanna work with music, okay? I was just gonna be a session guy. So in my mind, the band thing was like, I'm done with the band thing. I just want to make money. That was my thing, my idea.
That was the plan.
That was the plan. That didn't happen.
And then he met. That didn't happen.
No, it happened for a couple of years until I met Brian. Then Brian started because they were already working in studio, okay. And then Brian, at some point, because we played a show, it was probably around September, and Brian, I remember, start to, like, out of nowhere sending me text. It was December, and it was like, dude, do you remember me and Brian? Yeah. I have a cool thing in studio. You should come and check it out, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, man, I was already like in different kind of thing. Not that I care, it was just work for me. So I was like, I don't know if I can. I mean, I don't. But Brian was like, boom, 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 every day. At some point, I was like, you know what? I'm coming to the studio. So I'm coming. We see what's going on. And then, when I went there, Aaron was there. He was tracking that day. He was tracking either basement or something.
It was basement, yeah, because that's what you tracked on.
Yeah, I tracked it like the day after, not the same day. And so I went there. I got in, and I see Mikey Dolly, which I didn't know before. And I'm like, I know this guy. I mean, I know who this guy is. And then there was Brian, there was Rich there, and Aaron was tracking his thing. So I just sat there. I listened to the thing. I was like, and then Brian took me back because I think he picked me up. Took me back, and I told him, dude, I think it's really good. I mean, I liked it. I mean, it was actually the genre of music that I like. You know, it's like, right. I'm a metal guy. I like heavy rock stuff, and I was playing hip hop. I was playing gay rock and all the kind of stuff. And I'm like, it was.
Well, you played for like a rapper dude, right? That's where they saw you play. Was playing for a rap, which is cool too, right? I love all sorts of music, but it's not your passion shit.
It's not my passion, but it was fun. You know, they were paying me for rehearsal. They were paying me for the shows and all that kind of stuff for the studio. So in my little lookups, I was happy. You know, I was just got to LA. It was like 2 years. 2 years in LA is nothing. You know.
Yeah.
And then we met that day. Brian took me home, and I said, "Man, I think I like it." You know. So if you guys are down, like, we can try to work out something to work something out. The day after, Brian called me like, come to the studio, but bring the bass. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I brought the bass. I went in studio, and that day somehow I ended up tracking a song, which was Basement. And from there we
Nice.
just
Okay.
yeah, and from there we just stayed together since then. And I remember I tracked Basement on the fly. Okay, I
Yep.
literally on the fly. I didn't know the
Yep.
song, and I kept, even on the record, I kept the same like bass
Even to this day.
bass line to this day, the same bass lines that I tracked the
Yep.
first day, because it was like that was the right one. So that was cool. It never really happened in any other song in my life, but that
Dude,
one was.
What's really cool about hearing you tell that story is that I get to hear details that I wasn't there when you left the studio and talked with Brian, right? So I don't, and I didn't know you. I had no history with you. I just knew that Brian wouldn't shut the fuck up about you. He's like, we gotta get we gotta get this guy.
You left a hell of an
Once-
impression. That's a good thing.
Once he gets in the studio, he's gonna be fucking sold. But he knew your situation and he was realistic about it. He was realistic about it. We knew what we were walking into. We were like, if we get him in here, he'll be into it. And I remember you sitting down. There was like a scratch bass part on Basement that wasn't. It was like super loose, and it was just wasn't. We needed so like we're redo this. And I remember he exactly like he said it. He did it on the fly. He like heard the part one time, and he laid down the sickest bass part for it. And we were all like standing behind him, like nobody let him leave. If he tries to leave, grab that motherfucker and put him in the trunk of the car. We're keeping him.
Dude, it's
Like,
funny because they never
is funny
tell
as
me
hell.
that. They never tell me that. I just know now. Now I know.
You
But
guys are learning a
they-
lot about each other tonight.
Yeah, we were like blown away because I mean I've been I played in OTEP back in the day. I played guitar, and Evil J in that band is, I mean, he's like a gifted musician. I've played with some really talented bassists in my time. My friend Tyson Strom was like a crazy Les Claypool type of bass player. So like I knew what I was watching was like genuine talent and skill. And like, this guy's special, right? He looks unique. You were super friendly. Your AP, you got your own persona, dude. And like, you're one of the most unique dudes I've ever met in my whole life. And it was just very obvious that like this guy's we gotta keep him involved. Like he's got to be part of this. And here we are, man. 13 years later.
And dude, and I was super happy because the reason why I didn't want to do the band thing is because when I was in Europe, I never I had just one band that was my band. It was back in the day that did something decent there, okay. But then I always had like problem with the lineup, and especially singers. They come, they go. We never find the right singers. So to me, when I saw Aaron singing, I was like, oh my god! I was like, dude, this is a singer. This is a real singer. I mean, this is like a breed that is like doesn't exist anymore. I'm like,
Right.
I need to get on this. And I was super stoked. I honestly, I tell Brian even nowadays when we comes up with the conversation, it was the last thing I was imagined that could happen to me, because that it was like it's the last thing, And when it happened, I literally dropped off my project that I was doing. I just called everybody, say, guys, I'm sorry, I got something else going on, and I have no time anymore. We moved together, all together in the same house.
Yep.
Which we stayed for 4 years. My roommate was Brian.
I lived in the living room I lived on the floor on a futon mattress for most of that.
Wow, you guys like wasted no time. It's like you're in, the AP, you were in, moved right the hell in.
Then what's crazy too is that so like they met, Brian and him met in September. You said maybe you guys crossed paths. I met Brian and Rich in November of 2009. And then the story that we're telling was in January of 2010. And by the end of that month, I think by February, we were all living in the same place. The only people that really had any history were Brian and Mike. They had been in a band before that together for like a year and a half or something.
Yeah.
So, but really all 5 of the founding dudes in this band, like we didn't have any history. we didn't have like, we just had kind of mutual friends who maybe gave us references a little bit, but like I didn't know these guys from my, you know, from a total stranger, and we're just like, fuck it, let's move in together and be roommates, and then when we're not living
That's
together,
ballsy.
let's go live together in a van and go play rock shows, because that's always a surefire way to make sure everybody gets along, is to get off tour and then not get rid of each other, you know.
Yeah.
And still somehow this many years later, you know, we're still a thing, and we're still
but we did it for the music, you know, because
yeah,
we all
100%. We all knew we wanted it too. Like it's part of one of the lessons learned, I think, in this journey, is that you got to fucking want it, right? You get people who think they want it and then they don't really, right? The chips are down and it gets really hard and touring gets really tough and your fucking relationships don't work. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a lot of different curveballs you can be thrown, and not everybody fucking makes it to the finish line.
Yeah,
So
it's a different lifestyle. It's a very different lifestyle on all ends. You know, people, you got to know what you're getting into. You got to be ready. You know, there's going to be a lot of left turns, a lot.
Yep.
And your family is, you know, can they take it? That's the question. You know, it's like, are they ready for what they're about to walk into?
Yep. Yeah. And because of it, you know, like fucking I have this guy in my family too, right?
Yeah.
But
you know, it was a good thing because being together every day, you know, just living together, being together every day, we were just working. During that time, we were literally working for the band every day.
All day. Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Day, every day, between Facebook. And we were like a brand new band in LA, which LA is like, there is a band even underneath your bed when you go to sleep and you don't know. You know, there are bands everywhere in LA. Everywhere.
Right.
So we were a brand new band in LA. So we are like, we know we can do shit, we can do some good stuff, but we need to work hard, because here, I mean, the competition is like maximum level. There is no other place like LA. You know, there is no other place like LA.
Yep,
you can love it, you can hate it, but when it comes to music, that's the best place. If you want to do something with music, you go to LA. That's it. There is no New York, there is no London, especially rock music. Okay, you go to LA. So we were working super hard, but I remember those times still nowadays. That was one of the best time of my life. You know?
Yeah.
Best time of my life, because I was still relatively young. Okay, I was not thinking about. Think you start to think in your 40s. You know, I was still like in my early 30s, and I was excited because I mean I moved to LA, and things all of a sudden, like, they were turning out like better than what I thought. So it was like, holy shit, I'm gonna fucking push the accelerator now, you know? So no, it was a great time. Honestly, it was one of the best time of my, even right now when I think about it, I just have good memories. I don't have bad memories about that. Not even during, like, sometimes she was happening not between us but around us. Okay, but to me still I still have a beautiful memory about
100%, dude. And we got to see, you know, there's something so rewarding about putting that kind of energy and putting that kind of faith in something and having it be a success, right? And we got to do, I remember, so along these roads, like, we, you know, he was here on a visa at the time. And so then there was problems where he had to, like, go back to Italy because he couldn't be overextending his visa, so we had to get him a green card. And then eventually we got it. He's a citizen, right? Which, but at the time, I remember when we were signing our contracts for our first record deal, he was in Italy because he couldn't be here. So he was like we were on like some sort of FaceTime at the time, whatever app that was. We were on like a video call, and you had, like, for the first time, he had grown out a beard. We'd never seen him with facial hair. So it was like,
he had a baby face.
Who's this terrorist motherfucker on our screen? You know, and we were like signing contracts remotely and stuff. And like, then we did our first, you know, major tours, and we, you know, those were firsts for us. And like, I'm still friends with Waylon from A Killer's Confession, Mushroom Head, right? We've been working on a tune together, and like, that was the first front man that had, you know, become my buddy, and they invited me on stage every night. Those were first. So now I'm singing with Gemini, and I'm singing with these bands that I grew up listening to, that I looked up to and shit.
Right.
We did our first arena tour with Five Finger Death Punch. Then we were doing our first festivals at Rock on the Range and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, we got to go through that whole process of like climbing the ladder and doing the steps. You know what I mean? And it was awesome, man. It still is an awesome trip. It's still an awesome ride. It's just you never get to do that shit again. You know what I mean? You never get to build it. You never get to build it from the baby steps twice, right? It only happens one time.
What is deep?
Yeah. Once that door opens, you need to walk the fuck through quick. Never miss a chance. But that's awesome. So you guys ended up recording right away. You moved in together right away and went to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And let's see, the first your debut EP album.
Yep.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yep.
I still love it, and I think we should release it at some point because I think those songs were maybe because I'm emotionally attached. Okay, so when you are emotionally
I don't think so. Because I know people that have been in my life since that time who still say that some of the songs off that, like Imaginary and Never, somebody just messaged me the other day talking about those two songs that haven't been released ever. You can find versions of them on YouTube and shit, but
I love Resurrection.
And that was an original from the first record too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and basically we rehearsed literally 7 days a week. That was our job. We turned Gemini Syndrome into our way of life, and we literally woke up, went and rehearsed, came home, and then everybody would kind of fuck off and do their things in LA for the day, and then like we would convene at night to go promote stuff, right? I remember when we were getting ready to do the first show at the Roxy.
Yeah,
we did a ton of promotion for it, but we were like old school in it. We were printing out flyers with the band's names on it and going to bigger bands shows. I remember going to a Carnival show. I remember going to a Rage Against the Machine show and standing outside when the doors let out and just flyering them motherfuckers, knowing that 90% of them are going to get thrown on the ground and that the city's going to be pissed, but knowing that to maybe 10% of those people come. And we ended up packing that first show, right? So every day, and then rinse and repeat, every day was work on some website shit or work on merch designs or figure out new merch market strategies. And then eventually we did, started doing shows in LA, and then we started booking like little regionals. We'd start going to San Diego. We'd start going to Phoenix. We'd start trading shows with Otherwise in Vegas. I remember coming out and playing at the Green Valley Ranch with Otherwise. And then we traded them a Roxy show, and they came and played with us in LA, right? So you start doing this cross-pollination, and with Stitched Apart, same kind of thing. We started doing little runs with them and going on tour with our friends. And then Butcher Babies were involved in all of that thing happening back then too. And at some point, like there were all these bands got signed, right? And then now we're all national acts, all out of this little pocket of the Sunset Strip. It was looking back, man, it's like pretty exciting that all that shit happened because there hadn't been anything like that since that new metal explosion of Incubus and System of a Down and Cold Chamber and Linkin Park and those bands coming out of LA. And then before that it hadn't been until been since like hair metal, right?
I remember when we got signed, they were saying that we were the first band getting signed with a major label after at least 10 years,
off the Sunset Strip, right?
Off the Sunset Strip, which I mean, I'm like, that's cool. I like it, I take it, I'm not
absolutely.
That was cool, But yeah, during the time there was now, I mean, we don't even live in LA anymore, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe there is something going on too. But during the time between us and all those bands that were like popping up at the same time, there was a little bit of scene,
Yeah, big time. A lot of support going out to everybody's shows.
Yeah, you could feel it.
Right.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, Jason's showing some love for you guys. Says, love these dudes. So much great sounds introduced into the world, not to mention just great humans.
Oh,
Jason's my dude. Jason and he's my homie now.
Yeah, there you go, Jason.
Yep. He's the dude.
Yep, Jason, Aaron, Jason. There you go.
Oh no, we for sure have a relationship. I know that guy. I know him.
Oh, okay.
He takes guitar lessons from me, and we've become very good friends over the past 6 to 8 months. Yeah, super cool dude.
All right, well, that's good. So now after you guys released your EP, that's when you guys got signed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what happened after that? Things just started taking off.
Yeah, so we got in the process of picking the producer, and even in that was like a bunch of cool experiences. We got to go and interview with a bunch of different guys who were, super successful rock producers, and we got to
Mhm.
go see like this guy Mike Elizondo who worked, I don't know if he still does, works for Warner, who had been he had been the producer on like Dr. Dre's 2001.
Right.
And done so a bunch of like hip hop stuff. So we went into the studio where they had done like the Marshall Matters LP, and like I'm standing like my first two CDs I stole from my sister were Stone Temple Pilots and Dr. Dre. So I like kind of came up on West Coast rap, and I love that shit.
Mhm.
So to be standing, as a we were freshly signed, and I'm standing. This is the fucking room where like la da 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 was recorded. You know what I mean? Like how fucking cool is that shit? Um, and we, clearly we picked Kevin Churko in the end, which was awesome, and I'm glad we did. I love that man and that whole family. So then the process began, like picking songs, what was going to make it to the first record, and were we going to write new shit for the first official studio album. And then we moved out to Vegas for 4 months. We from April 1st to August 1st. It took 16 weeks to do that album.
Yeah.
And that's when I fell in love. I knew I can look back and I can pinpoint it was in that trip that I was like, someday I'm going to live in this town. I love Las Vegas. I think it's fucking awesome here. And I think at that point I'd made up my mind. And then about 5 years later, I did move out here.
More than 5, 6, 7.
Well, I've been here 7.
Oh wow!
But
Yeah.
but I'm saying after that, because that was like 2011, I think. No, it's 2012. We recorded it, and then I moved
Mhm.
out here in 16. So 4 years later.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you guys started recording, and that's when you came up with Lux.
Yep. Did
Yeah.
Lux with Kevin, and then we took it on the road. Right, we toured it. We toured the fuck out of it, man. We were
Yeah, you did.
always on tour. We would be. I remember coming home. There was a point where we would. There was 2 times actually. Once where we had 42 hours home before the next tour started, and one where it was just over. It was like 50 hours that we were home before we had to leave for the next tour. So we would be out for like 11 weeks on tour, come home for
Right.
2 days, and then go out for 7 more weeks right afterwards. Like we were out for like half the year at a time, which again, looking back, was awesome and also really brutal. I don't know how. I mean, I couldn't do it today.
No.
I couldn't survive in those circumstances now.
The
But
way we were touring those times are way different than the way we tour now. It's like right now, I could no. I mean, I start complaining like right away. I mean, not right away, but like after.
As soon
He's
as we
calling
get
himself out. That's beautiful.
as soon as we're at the airport, we're like, this sucks. I have to sit on an airplane for 3 hours. Fuck.
No, I mean, I know because during those time we were like winter touring in like there was snow, cold as shit weather, and we were in a van.
Yeah.
Because, save all
And like no money for hotels. We'd get like one hotel room on a day off so we could shower and maybe do laundry and stuff. But then
Right.
we might play. I remember going out with Mushroomhead, and we started out, it was 13 or 14 shows in a row. The tour started on February 2nd in Grand Rapids, Michigan. There was like 3 feet of snow on the ground. So we went like 2 weeks without getting a hotel or getting a shower. And that was like,
Oh wow.
5 dudes in the band, and then I'm sure we probably had Lester with us at that time. I forget who was even in
Imagine the amount of
crew.
swamp ass on that for 2 weeks with no shower, with show after show after show.
Well, we were sleeping in anti-gravity lawn chairs. We had 3 of those in the back of the van, right? So we had 2 front seats, a bench in the middle that AP and Brian would sleep crisscrossed on. So you'd see like one of their heads,
Oh wow.
and then the other person's feet coming up the other side, and then you'd have 3
Get
in the
it
back.
happen.
So I slept in my shoes. I slept fully clothed with a jacket and a sleeping bag.
Did you guys rotate in positions?
No. No. We staked our
when
territory.
You have your spot. You have your spot.
Yeah, it's your spot. And
nobody can take your spot.
Yeah,
it gets molded to you.
Even now, even now to this day, when we have bunks, AP and I have the same bunks every tour. Doesn't matter what vehicle we're in. I take the front bottom left, and he takes the one right above me. And like we get in the bus first, and we stake our claim. Like don't even think about sleeping in those bunks. That's my spot.
It's too funny.
Yeah, but everybody always end up in the same bunk. Even Brian is always in the same bunk.
Yep, always.
And you guys prefer to tour on a bus or in a van, bus preferably, than fly?
Bus. I don't like flight.
Yeah, because the way we do fly dates, right? We get hotels, but we don't get a bus in for the travel. We're just doing it's basically like being back in a van,
Right.
except you have the hotels. But there's been tours where, like the first fly date tour we did last year, I remember we did 4 shows in a row. It was a fly in. We played Welcome to Rockville. Then we played in like North Carolina. Then we played West Virginia. Then we played Pennsylvania. And I remember those first 3 nights we got like 2 hours of sleep. I remember one night AP and I were sharing a hotel room, and we literally there was like 3 hours from the time the vehicle got there to the time that the vehicle had to leave. It was like less than 3 hours. So like by the time you take a shower and try to decompress from the drive and the show, and you maybe sleep for an hour, and then it's like, oh, we got to get up and pack our bags and get downstairs so we can leave again. So you're not rested on a full-fledged tour with a bus with my bunk. You know, all of those drives at night, everybody's sleeping.
Right.
I get a full night's rest. And then during the day, if sound check's done, we can go sit in the bus and be somewhere comfortable, air conditioned, and have a TV to watch or something, have snacks to eat, or go lay down in the bunk and take a nap. But when you're on a van tour, you're just sitting around for thumbs. What do we do for the next day? 6 hours until we play. And I know that probably doesn't sound like so awful, like, oh man, you just have to sit around. But
it is awful.
It is awful with nowhere to go and no privacy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You're just kind of wasting time away. Whereas like when I'm on a tour like that, you know, by the time you're into the 5th show or so and you've gotten used to sleeping in the vehicle again, like you get in a groove too. You get in a rhythm where like now it's like every day is like show day. We're waking up, we're gonna do the thing, we're gonna do sound check, we're gonna fucking do whatever press we got, and then we're gonna play a show, and then we're gonna do acoustic, and then we're gonna hang out, and then you know what I mean? And you get in this kind of routine of it and this rhythm. And then the shows start becoming like everybody locks in as players, and the fucking thing becomes just a well-oiled machine going down the road.
Right.
And I find that really hard. It's harder it takes a different mindset to get into that frame of mind on those short little runs. You have to just like be in the zone immediately. And it doesn't always work that way, or it doesn't work that way as effortlessly as I would like it to. So
yeah.
Right. Like I can imagine. I mean, you got to develop your own little niche. You got to figure out what works for you and how that could coincide with everyone else that's in that band. You know, that's
absolutely. And don't get me wrong. I don't want to say that I don't like doing the short runs, and I don't want to appear that I'm not grateful for the fact that we're even in a position where we get to fly into places. Like we get to do fly dates. I remember walking with AP, actually the first fly date we did, going to Welcome to Rockville, and we were talking about something, and I just had to point out, I said, remember, dude, like look at it from this perspective, that 12 years ago, we were in that same van situation we just described to you, like sleeping in lawn chairs, right? Like sleeping on lawn chairs with like, you were sleeping on like the floor of the van and using the bench as your footrest. It's just awful. Just an awful way to spend your time. And now we get to go to the airport and get on airplanes and go play rock shows. Like that's definitely, we've moved forward in our careers, so I'm grateful for it. But
no,
that's
I also like to sleep.
That's the good way to see it. That's the good way to see it.
Right, grateful for it. But yeah, I would prefer to be in a bus with a refrigerator where you can have your coffee set up in the morning, and AP can take up half the counter with his vape station. And
so I got, what is that? Silu has said you just need to make sure that they check the bus to make sure you're in the bunk before leaving without you. Has anyone ever been left behind?
Oh yeah, only one time. One time. We've left plenty of people at gas stations. That's happened a bunch of times, but leaving somebody actually and like overnight and then waking up in the morning, it only happened once, and it happened to me, and it happened at my mom's house.
Yeah.
Which was so like I guess for some reason whoever was checking the bunks assumed that maybe I would sleep in the bus when I was at my mom's house, which I would not. Normally, that would be true. Normally, I almost always sleep in the vehicle, whatever. Even if we have hotels, I just prefer, because then I get the bus to myself, and I like that shit. But this time we're at my mom's house, so she came. They left. I guess my curtain was closed, which it normally shouldn't have been either, unless I was in it. So I guess maybe they assumed. and they took off. And my mom walks into the room 45 minutes later, like clean up the bedding or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, hey,
You're here."
yeah, they're gone." And I remember not panicking at all. And I was like, "Well, sucks for them, huh?"
All right, I'm going back to bed. Fuck it.
They were only about 45 minutes down the road, and we ended up being able to catch up to them and stuff. But my mom was, as we approached where they were to meet up with them, she was like, "Man, you know what would have been really funny is if we didn't tell them." And I just, because she was only like an hour and a half away from her house. It was only an hour and a half away from her house, so she could have gone to that show that night and like waited until they pulled into the parking lot and unloaded the gear and like, wait, where the fuck are the singer? Right? And then have us be like hanging out at a Starbucks down the road waiting for them.
Right, just watching the shit happen from a distance.
Yeah, you guys left without me. I don't know what to tell you, and then roll up and save the day, but we didn't do that. Would have been funny.
And so the one time it happened, of course, it's you, Aaron. Go figure, right?
We're gonna go see. Hey, we were at my mom's house.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't pretty good. Was driving or
Alan was driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is too damn funny.
Yeah. Yep.
And you said you left people at gas stations too?
Oh yeah, a bunch of times that's happened.
That's too funny.
We used to leave Chuck and Dan at the gas stations all the time.
Was that on purpose though?
No.
Okay, so it didn't become a normal like ritual.
One time they left me on purpose. And I was so mad that day. I was so mad. I got out. I was like, no.
I forgot about that. That's true. Yeah. We did leave you on purpose once. We didn't go far though.
No, they just drove around the block and then they came back. And I think I was already panicking, or I don't know what I was doing.
Oh, shit. And he did it on purpose too, which is it's like, it's funny, but yet at the same time, it's not for you and your right.
No, I mean, that at some point they're gonna come back and get you. But I remember that I left my phone inside. I didn't have my phone with me.
Yeah, so it's even more now.
That's even worse. That's a panic attack at that point.
So now it's panic time for real. I was like, no, dude, I don't even have my phone now. Now what?
You just got to stand there on the sidewalk like a.
Yeah, that's what I did. I just stayed there.
Yeah. That's the best. That's the best solution if you get lost on tour is just stand still and wait for an adult.
Then
it's funny as fuck. I'm sorry that happened, but it's still funny.
And it was funny. Then when they picked me up, then I was like, that was pretty good actually.
That is too funny. I'd be
not
snapping.
Funny.
Like,
not funny when it's
I'd be snapping half English, half Italian. But that is funny as hell. So moving on though, besides leaving people behind, I love the stories. I love hearing stories. You guys went on to record a couple of extra albums. You got Memento Mori at 2016, Third Degree, which I've actually been listening to quite a bit of today. I know Aaron, as you know, I lost a friend today, so today I've just been replaying "Remember We Die" like multiple times today.
Yep, don't torture yourself with it, but that is definitely a good song.
Yeah, it's you know how it's when things hit you, you just tend to listen to, even though it's like the worst thing you probably should listen to because it triggers more memories. It's like the best thing at the same time.
Yeah, but I don't think it's worse because those memories do get triggered, and when you're grieving somebody like that, it's like you're grieving your loss of them. Right. Yeah. But then you're celebrating the time that you had with them by recalling those memories. And that's how people live. That's how people live on after transition.
Yes. And Third Degree was a great album. Great fucking album. Definitely a killer album. And one of those songs.
You hear the new shit.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to get to that. So 2021, you got Third Degree that came out. And one of those songs is IDK.
Sure is.
Is
this the segue, or am I telling a story about IDK?
Tell a story. I love stories.
So this record was interesting, right? Actually, these last two records I've had to do kind of under a time gun, and so the guys went down to the studio with Matt ahead of time and started mapping out the song structures and stuff, and as opposed to when we did the first two albums where we were all living in LA at that time, And then we went to Vegas and we like got a place for a couple months and we lived together again out here when we did Third Degree and this most recent one that we'll talk about. We were going from Vegas to Phoenix. And we have some friends and family down there, so we had places to sleep and stuff. And it wasn't the same situation. We didn't need to go all live together and make the records, so we just kind of did it in waves. But when I came down to do vocals, they had written 7 new songs on top of like the 25 that we took into the studio to choose from. So I'm thinking, all right, I got to whittle down my 25 or whatever it was to 10. It will be great. I'll go in and track them and I'll move on. And then they're like, hey, so we wrote 7 more songs while we were here, and we think they're all fucking awesome. And they were all really good. So I started writing to those. So I would go in the studio one day and I would record something that I already had written that made the cut for the album. And then I would go home that night and I would pick a song out of the newest ones they wrote. I'd pick one and I would just listen to it all night until I got the inspiration to write the song, and I would write it and I would make as many notes as I could. And then as soon as I woke up and went to the studio, that's the first thing I would record the next day. And then I would record another one that I had already had written. And then I would go home and do the same thing again. I'd pick the next song and I'd write that. And I'd go in the next day and record that first thing so it was fresh in my head. And that's how IDK was one of those.
And that was also your latest release.
Well,
wasn't it?
That's a great question. It was either Die With Me or IDK.
I thought it was IDK. If I'm wrong, I might be wrong, but I swear it was IDK. But either way, we do actually have that video for everyone to check out. If everyone hasn't heard it or seen it, we do have it here.
Inspired by the Socratic idea that the more I learn, the less I know. Right? There's in the pie chart of knowledge. There's a little tiny sliver. It's the shit that I know, and then there's a slightly bigger sliver, and it says shit I know I don't know, and then the rest of the pie is shit I don't know I don't know. That's what this song's about.
There you go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play that video if it's cool with you guys.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cheers AP with his elf bar over here.
There you go. It's to see, twins, Geminis. All right, let's get this going. So for everyone, this is video IDK. Let me blow that bitch up. There we go.
Let's have a conversation in the name of reciprocity. Inspiring and colluding with the darkest enemy. My spirit's evolution. That's my other fucking thing. It's never ending. My heart's offending. Communion with every living thing. It's never, I don't know anything anymore. The further down I go, this rabbit hole, the world I know simply disappears. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? My soul is so deceased. This world's the evolution. There's no illusion. Not a lie, it can never be done. The work can never be won because it never begun. Because there is no time. Is that I don't know anything anymore. The further down I go, this rabbit hole, the world I know simply disappears. Every time I think I'm right, I find out sooner than I'd like that everything's not black and white, and then there's entropy. Nothing is as it appears. The soul of God is broken mirrors, ash to ash, dust to dust, and then there's you and me. I take you.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
a badass song. That is a
I like
badass
it.
song.
AP, you don't have a mustache. That's what I've been trying to pin down.
Yeah. You know, it was a mistake actually. I was trying to trim it, and it was like it was early in the morning. I didn't have like the little thing you put on top of the trimmer, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Ah, dude," and I cut like half of it. I was like, now what? I cannot fix it anymore. So I had to chop them off, and then Becky was like, "I like it better." And I'm very sure because I don't like it. It was like, "No, I like it better." So I just didn't grow them again.
bro, we're twinsies with our beards now too. You know
We
what
are
I'm saying?
we are twins now. Yeah.
I have don't feel bad. You're not alone. I have absolutely trimmed my beard before and just fucked it up. Then you're
Yeah.
like, well, the whole thing's got to come off now.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Yeah. I panicked for a second, dude, because you know when you are a woman, so you don't know. But usually when you grow a beard or mustache or whatever, then you get used to it. Okay, so you get used to it, and when you cut it, it's like a shock every time.
Yeah.
It's like a shock because you're like, oh my god, dude, I look like that. Oh my god, I look
You
like
forgot what your
this.
face looked like.
Yeah, because you don't even remember for some reason. You just
That's
don't
funny as
remember.
hell.
That's absolutely true, man. I
But
remember when I
it's
shaved the
true.
beard. Yep. When I hadn't seen my chin since I was 16. So whenever I cut the dreads off and everything, I shaved everything for the first time in like a long time, and it was like, oh, let's never do that again.
Yeah,
Cover that ugly mug up.
yeah. It's a little shock. Then you get used to it. It takes a little bit of time. You get used to it again. But when you like fresh, you cut it like fresh, like right away. It's like fuck that.
I like
You are
this
almost,
no mustache thing on you is good.
yeah. You're almost
That's too
afraid.
funny.
To leave the house for. Yeah.
It's like a whole different person. You walk past a mirror and then you jump because you think it's someone else and it's you.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You know who the fuck is that?
Hey, thanks, Damon.
And then everybody look at you with there is something different. I don't understand what's different. So that's what it is.
Yeah, it took me a second.
That's too funny. So now, all right, so that was a killer video. And you know,
Thanks, Damon.
the whole album, yeah. Damon says that was a cool music video.
Thank you.
Jason, if you saw that earlier, you know, he said IDK and Gravedigger on repeat daily.
I did.
Yes. Now, okay, so you guys are writing new music, getting ready to drop another album soon.
Record's done.
It is done.
Our target date is you'll hear it here first. Because I did an interview yesterday, but it's not released yet. It was pre-recorded, so you'll hear it here first.
Here first with the Savage Ladies of Metal.
June 25th, 2023. Primordial.
Yeah.
New single by Gemini Syndrome.
Primordial. New single.
My radio voice pretty good there. Coming to you live,
Yes.
June 25th, 2023. The new single
Awesome.
for
So
the
everyone
Gemini
keep
Syndrome
your ears peeled for that
Primordial.
shit. That shit's gonna be blowing up everywhere, I'm sure, right?
There'll be a video with it too. It's already done. Video came out super great. We worked with Brian Cox again. Brian Cox, I think he said that's his 11th music video he's done with us, if I remember correctly. Some
Holy
crazy-
shit! I didn't
Yeah,
even know
dude,
we
I
had
couldn't.
11
I
videos.
forgot videos he had done with. I forgot videos we had done. Period.
Yeah.
Like the video for Alive Inside. Remember we did a video for that,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah,
forgot we did a video for that, right?
Yeah.
Totally
That
happened.
is too funny.
But yeah, so like 11 videos now we've done with Brian Cox. I love that dude. He's so fun to work with. I think this one is there's no story attached to it. We did some AI stuff with it that was pretty cool, but it's really kind of just a performance video, and it's kind of bare bones, and I kind of like it the best of all the ones we've done. We've had some weird concepts with like Sorry Not Sorry, with like the money being barfed up, and then he's snorting lines of money, and then she's like, her butt cheeks fall out of her dress and her face falls off because of the Botox and stuff. Like, it's fucking weird shit. But and it was cool too. Don't get me wrong. I'm into all of it because we did it.
Thanks for falling out. It was cool.
But this was just like, I think it was AP actually that suggested. He's like, what was it for I'm Broken, for the old school Pantera I'm Broken?
Yeah,
He's
man.
like, do you remember how fucking cool that was? And I was like, we were like, yeah, dude, I remember how cool that shit was. So it's kind of our own take on something like that in a sense. We didn't like stand in a circle like Pantera did or nothing, but it came out really good, I think. So the AI element is really freaky and weird. Some cool visual shit going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, new music, record's done, so we'll start releasing some singles the rest of this year, and I think the target date, if I remember correctly, is about February to release the whole album.
Awesome.
But we'll be doing these a release every few weeks now coming up.
Right.
We'll have new merch designs going up. You can buy new Gemini swag. I'll be honest, I have the title of the record, but I haven't memorized it yet, and it's complicated. It's not like a one-word title. I have to go look it up, and I have to commit it to memory.
I actually remember. I'm not gonna say, but I actually remember it for the first
Do
time.
you say it? You can say what it is.
No, wait.
You're on the
No,
spot.
I remember the second part. The second part was wait. Oh wait, I said I remember, but I think I spoke.
But now you don't. But I can say this. So we did, like, basically, people kept asking you, are you guys going to do another trilogy? Because Lux, Memento, and Third Degree are like a trilogy. Oh, we lost AP. AP is gone from the call. That's all right. So we're not doing a trilogy. We're not doing a follow-up to the trilogy, but instead we're going to do an origin story. We're doing a prequel. So it's something to I don't want to say it wrong, but the main title is going to be Origin.
Yeah, Origin. Yeah.
Origin, right? From nothingness to everything, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Brian
Origin from nothingness. Yeah, he was so excited when he came up. He was like, "Yeah,
he had the plan, dude. It's gonna be this. It's gonna be okay."
So I'll clue everybody into a little behind the scenes of how this came out. So I remember originally talking, because we've used the artist Cameron Gray. Worked with him in the past, and I love his artwork. And there's definitely a theme that was going on with everything that we've done in the past. And we were kind of talking like it would be cool to kind of take a simpler approach to things. Like we were talking about the front of the album just being a version of the symbol, like the original EP was, right? Where it's just it was just the symbol and the music, and let that speak for itself. And that was kind of where we were going with this. We were talking about having it be like our Black album, where it's like our fourth record. We won't have a title for it. And we were all kind of on board with that. And then Brian had this epiphany. He's like, bro, like Wolverine, bro, or like The Hobbit, right? We go to the prequel and we tell the origin, the story. And I was like, we fucking started cracking up laughing. That shit was so funny to us. I'm like, but it's perfect. We're fucking doing that. So Origin, from nothingness to everything. An epic saga of dragon slaying and gold plundering.
Yeah.
The hell of a story. I love the backstory on that. That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah. So coming June 25th, new shit, new music video.
Oh yeah, and that was also what's her, I'm going to look again and see what her name was. That's also Abby's birthday, and she did say earlier that that's a hell of a birthday present. So happy early birthday, Abby!
That's right.
Yes, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes, and Brand says the Hobbit noise.
Yep.
Nice.
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 Brandy is another homie and a student of mine, and actually I was on a call with her earlier today, and we were talking about The Hobbit, and she showed me a copy that she's got that's like 24 karat gold, leather bound, leather gold leaf, super
Nice.
deluxe edition of The Hobbit. I'm an avid reader and I love nice books, and she had an awesome copy of The Hobbit.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. So let me ask you now. So out of all the albums that you have made, which one's your favorite?
This new one.
Yeah.
I feel like I love all the music we've released. I love all the music that I've been a part of in my life. I'm proud of all of it. And they all kind of stamp a time and play in space and time. They mark that for me, and they represent where I was at in that time and place, right? So almost always the newest thing is the thing that I'm going to be into the most. But from an objective standpoint, I feel like this is the second record we've done with this lineup, with Meigs playing guitar with us. I feel like the feeling that I had in the beginning on that first EP record that we did, like it feels like a fucking band again. It feels like the people involved are all the right people to be here. I think we're all on the same page as far as like what we're trying to accomplish. And I think we got a little reckless with the music in the same way that you do on a first record, right? The thing that happens, I think, to so many bands, and I think this is a pretty common phenomena, is that your first record, you get all this time to work on it, and you get signed because there's something unique and creative about the band that you've created and the songs that you're writing. And that's what gets somebody's attention, and that's when a label scoops in and they sign you and you become a thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to do the follow-up record and the follow-up record. And at least in my personal experience, there was a lot of people chattering in our ears about, not saying maybe necessarily these words, but you got to write another Stardust. You got to write another Stardust. You got to write another Remember We Die.
Mm-hmm.
And while I don't feel like we totally adhered to that, it's certainly an influence that happened over the second record for me, for sure. I wanted to make sure that it was a liked record, right? I didn't want to be thrown away and then forgotten about. So I wanted to have some staying power. But point being, coming to now, I think that like we decided to just start writing music that we wanted to hear again, right? Music that I want to listen to in my off time, not trying to necessarily write any radio hits, not trying to write to any kind of formulaic, predetermined algorithm of what's going to sell or what's going to stream the most. I just wrote shit that I wanted to write, right? Melodically, I was writing melodies that I want to sing live. And I feel like musically, this band and these dudes really kind of expressed who they are as musicians, right? The record guitar wise, like, sounds to me like Meigs Rascone. It sounds like that's Meigs. If you know Meigs' guitar playing from his older bands and you hear this, you'd be like, that's fucking Meigs. Like, it's got his signature and his sound to it. AP always sounds like AP because he's a monster. Brian really dialed in trying to he was telling me that his whole, normally in the past, his thing is he's a tom guy. He likes to have tom beats and intricate tom stuff. So for this record, he was really focusing on doing like snare and hi-hat accentuation, and like it changed the way he played the drums a little bit, and it made him shine through a little bit more as his genuine self. And I think that the whole band as a unit is a little more cohesive, or a lot more cohesive than it has been in a long time. And I think that comes through in the music. And I think people are gonna I think they're gonna trip out on some of the shit.
Yeah.
There's some weird odd time stuff. There's like some Degenti stuff. There's some super melodic stuff. There's some super double time, almost like punk rock, almost like old school 9 Inch Nails feeling kind of shit.
Yeah, and that's what I love about you guys. You know, your music is so diverse. It is so musically well-rounded. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, what else? I agree with 100% with everything Aaron said. But and also, and he probably agrees with me too, what really helped for this record is the fact that we got off every record label. We like we can do whatever we
Total
want.
freedom. Yeah.
We can
Yep.
do whatever we want. Because when you are with a label, either if you want it or not, they are always trying to, you know, you should do this, you should do that, you that. Then you can listen or not listen, but you have the voice in the back of your fucking head all the time, you know.
Yep. 100%.
You should try to you guys should do that again. Now we're like, now we do whatever we now we do what we want.
Yep.
Now we do what, and I'm more than sure that they're gonna like it better than before.
I think so too.
They're gonna like it better. This is as fresh as Lux was
when we came out with that. Dude, that's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah,
that's the perfect way to put it. Is like, yeah, because of the fact that there's nobody trying to influence what kind of songs we write.
Yeah,
we weren't trying to cater to any particular crowd. We're just trying to write the music that we write, which again, going back to Lux, the reason that first EP record that we did with Doling got us attention was because it was coming from a genuine, authentic, creative place from everybody's perspective, right? From everybody in the band. It was our first album and we didn't have anything to follow up. So it became, people liked it because it was what we were doing. And part of that, I think for any band is to continue evolving and still staying true to the sound of the band, but then not just recreating the same album every time either, because that's what the fans are going to buy.
Right.
I think album sales have changed that game a little bit. I think the fact that streaming is now the only real way that anybody listens to music anymore. Everything's on demand, right? So you're not necessarily going to listen to whatever money was pumped into that radio song. The favorite track might be the most hidden track on the album for a lot of people. I think Sleep Token is an excellent example of that. Those guys coming out with some of the most well-rounded, speaking of versatility, right? They're going from djent double bass screaming to like an R&B breakdown at the end of the tune. It's the same song and it's 7 minutes long. That shit would never get played on the radio. But you go look at its Spotify spins a month after it came out at like 32 million spins.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy talk. Because they're doing something that's creative and they're being true to themselves. That's at least what I'm convinced of at this point.
Yeah. So how much do you think your sound has evolved from your first EP to this one?
Just enough to be relevant. I'm just kidding.
That's a great answer.
just enough to not be responsible for it.
It's funny.
I can only speak for my own experience. I feel like I'm at the top of my game as a musician. I feel more comfortable on stage and in the studio than I ever have, and I've been playing music since I was a kid. I feel like just having the opportunity to do this as a living and to do this for my whole lifestyle. And, when I'm home, I teach lessons, and so I'm constantly working on vocal technique or guitar technique, or some people want songwriting help. So I'm always kind of exercising those artistic muscles, so to say. So I feel like a seasoned veteran at this point. You know what I mean? I get excited before shows, but I don't really get nervous. I look forward to it. Like, we're gonna go do the thing. I used to get scared and I would dry heave and I'd be fucking freaking out behind the curtain, and that happened for years and years, and that doesn't really occur to me anymore. So you get comfortable in your skin, or at least I did. And hopefully by playing, by any skill set that you have, whether it was building houses or writing songs and playing instruments, the more you do it, the better you get. So I definitely feel like as a band, we're tighter than we've ever been. I think everybody's a better player than they've ever been. The songwriting chops are better than they've ever been, which would be, obviously the goal. Like I said, just enough to stay relevant.
That's too funny. So, well, I am definitely looking forward to the first single release and eventually the actual full CD, full album, which you said is going to be next year. So we'll keep our
You'll get. I think you're going to get five singles, I think is the plan.
How many songs are going to be on the album?
Probably 12 tracks with 10 like musical songs. We usually do 12 with two weird interludes. Maybe we'll have another alien interview on this one or something. I don't know.
That's cool. Oh, yeah. So I got a couple of questions. I know we got a few minutes. We're a little bit past, but that's okay. I got some time. A couple of random questions just to get to know you guys a little bit from like personal perspectives. In your personal opinion, what do you think it takes to be a great musician?
Aaron, you going first or I'm going first?
You can if you're ready.
Okay. Well, passion has to be at the highest level, I guess.
Yeah.
But passion is not enough, because if you don't have musicality and rhythm, if you need to have those things. I do lesson like Aaron, okay? And I don't want to brag stuff. I don't want to be like blah, 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 but I have a lot of guys, and I see right away when somebody's like is a musical guy. He has musicality. He understands things right away. He has rhythm. He understands that right away. And so that's something that you either have it or you don't. It's not something that you can learn. There is no learn. Okay, so you need to have musicality. You have to be a lot of passion, and then it depends on your goal. If you need to. It's a lot of sacrifices. It's a lot of time with being broke. It's a lot. It's a lot of things. But it's like any craft. It's like any craft. You if you want to be the best tennis player of this planet, you have to dedicate your life to your craft. You have to play tennis every day, like a crazy motherfucker, and throw those balls like crazy. It's like any craft. You have to put more than what you think it's human to put to be the best version you can be. And then there's always somebody better than you. And you're like, oh shit, look at that guy, what he's doing.
Yep.
So that it's like a never-ending like evolution, okay, or commitment or whatever. It changed with time, because when you are younger, your priority on your instrument of your music or whatever you want to focus on are different. Then you grow up and it change. You kind of see things in a different way, but the main purpose is the same. I honestly write music and play music just because it makes me feel good. There is no other. It's not that I want to be the cool guy in a band, or I want to make money, or I want. To me, music for me is like therapy. It's like it makes me feel good. If I track something and I listen, and I'm happy with, I'm like, and I can listen all day the same fucking bass fucking track. For me, it's the best. It's the best thing in the world. I'm like, oh my god, this is beautiful. And I'm happy. For me, that's what makes me. For me, my dream is like I'm always thinking about things in my mind, and for me, and those are the things that they kind of keep me like going, because if you take music out of my life, dude, I don't know what I would do. I don't know, but not just the band and the live shows, like in general. Okay, you take my instrument away, what am I gonna do? I don't know, man. I don't know. So I don't even want to think about that. But
Right.
it's like it's a trip. If you think about it, it's a trip, because I start playing like kind of late in my life. I was already 15, 16 when I start playing. But since I start playing. I just did that all my life, and I knew that I was doing it like right away. So, I mean, at least that's my story. I think everybody has a different story, But yeah,
Dude, I think I would agree 100% with all that, right?
Yeah.
It's particularly like the right. You have to have passion.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to sacrifice. You have to have discipline, especially I think when you're starting out. Because again, like you said later in your story, you were talking about how your priorities change as you get older as a player, right? Like I don't sit and I don't work on my chops for 3 hours a day anymore, or 8 hours a day. I don't just run scales to a metronome, because I did that stuff, right? It's in me already. I spent my years doing that. So now now my focus, if I sit down and play guitar, I play piano, or I'm recording some vocal stuff, like now it's a different agenda. Now I'm trying to like apply all of that knowledge that I learned and drilled when I was younger into writing cool songs, and like trying to outwrite myself from the last song that I did, right? I'll geek out. There was a tune I did. I just started recording in the last few years. I'm not like pro at it yet, but I'm getting there. But like AP mentioned, one of the greatest things that I get to do now is I get to write ideas out that I had in my head and make songs, and then be able to listen to those back, not just in my head. And it feels awesome, right? It's like, so I'll listen to the same song that I wrote sometimes for like a few days, and that's all I listen to because I'm so stoked that I got to get the idea out. But I'll work on like weird ideas. Like I had an idea as I was going to take a nap one day that it would be cool if I could write a song that the first riff started on a G major chord and then went to a G minor chord, and used two totally opposite keys to write a song. And I laid down to take my nap, and I couldn't get that idea out of my head, and I heard the guitar line in my head, and I couldn't sleep, so I got up and I recorded it, and I ended up sitting up for like 16 hours and wrote a whole song, and I titled it No Time, because I had no time for a nap. But that became like, that was the reward of my whole week, was getting to do that and getting to flex my little music theory dork muscles, you know what I mean? And be like, I did that thing that I didn't know if I could do or not. Yeah, and then the fucking, I think the third element to being a successful musician is having the courage and the stubbornness to not give up.
Yeah.
You know, that's I love how you just ended that, because that just feeds into my second question. I mean, I have a whole shit ton. I always have extra questions, but one more question I was going to ask is, have you ever felt like you wanted to quit?
Fuck yeah.
Every 2 days.
Yeah, all the time.
And what did you do to help fight that?
Just a couple of weeks ago, I think I did quit, didn't I?
Yeah, he
Fuck.
quit again.
Yeah.
Everybody quit.
I'm done. I can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck, it happens all the
we
time.
we quit every 6 months, and then we come back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Aaron, they'll drop you off at your mom's. AP, they'll leave you at the gas station. They'll
That's
just say,
it.
all right, fine,
That'll
you
be
do.
that's the last straw. Never
No.
again, motherfucker.
No, sometimes emotion gets so intense that they make you go so mad that you are willing to say shit that you already know you're not gonna do,
Right.
but just for the satisfaction of let people know that you are so mad you're gonna say that, you know.
Yep,
Right.
that's so well put. Because
Yeah.
that's it. And I think another way to say that is that you want to be acknowledged in that moment that you're hurting,
Yeah.
that things aren't going the way that they were supposed to, or that I envisioned them, or that we've worked so hard and it hasn't been the results that we wanted, or this thing's out of my control and there's nothing I can do about it, and I'm fucking upset about it. And you
Yeah.
want somebody to just be like, I hear you. I'm sorry that sucks. And let's try to find ways to make it better. But if nobody's doing like that thing for you, then it's like, then you need to and fucking let it. I'm gonna fucking murder everybody.
Yeah.
Right? I'm clearly not gonna go murder every human being, right? It's a ridiculous task. But man, sometimes in that moment it feels good to say.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's important. If you quit, especially if you are in a band, that then they have to be active. They have to stay active all the time. So if you lose the band, you have to start over with another band. So it depends where you were with the band that you just quit, or that broke up, or whatever. Starting over nowadays, especially nowadays, it's not like before. Starting over nowadays. I mean, it's a different world.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different world.
Yep.
Kids. I'm pretty sure there is a lot of like younger kids, they listen to us, so they cannot really relate in that matter, But I grew up. I was a kid in the 80s, I was in my 20s in the 90s, So those were different times, Those were different times for music, for the music industry, for everything. I mean, I grew up. There was no internet. There was no Apple Play, Apple Music.
Right.
There was no Spotify. There was nothing.
I had to
The
pick
only
the
way-
one CD that I was going to take with me in my Walkman and listen to that for the whole day.
Right?
That's
Remember
it.
that?
That's it. You were literally going to a record store,
Yeah.
not even knowing what you were gonna find, and you were like, okay, let's see if I have a good find today or whatever, you know. Look like magazine to find out new bands if there is a new band. It was a completely different thing, which I miss like immensely. I mean, I think it was awesome, but you know, I'm also an older man, and like kids nowadays, but yeah, you're just an older guy.
Yeah, you're just fucking.
You're
You
just
just
an
don't.
old,
You just don't get. You're just too slow for
you
technology, old
just
man.
don't get it. Yeah, you just don't get it, man, you know.
Right.
So I come from a different time, but I think they were like great time with that, you know. I experienced those, and I still have a
Right.
enough memory, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but I recognize the good things about like internet and the streaming. There are also some good things. The problem with streaming, especially for bands, is that technology went moving so quickly, and
We couldn't keep up.
the business side couldn't keep up with the
Yep.
with the actual streaming situation. So the way musicians like were getting revenues, basically for 10 years musicians were not getting any fucking revenues because there was no way, there was nothing was set up for musicians, you know. So
Right.
there was like the big when Lars Ulrich came up with Napster, he did all the oh, fuck you Lars, but he was fucking right. He was so right, you know.
Yep.
But at the time, oh, he was a douche, baby. Oh, you want more money? You already have money. You want more money? It's not about that. It's the principle. There was
Yep.
no,
Right.
you know.
Yep. And Lars Ulrich, right back, looking back in retrospect, man, he was
Right.
he was fighting the good fight for everybody.
Yeah, he was the
For
first, and everybody was making fun of him, giving him a
Good.
lot of shit and problems about it. And look, you know,
He was right. He was right.
So I want to
Yeah.
answer this question down here. What was y'all's
Yeah.
favorite band growing up? I had a bunch, man. I mean, I was a huge Tool fan. I was a huge Pantera fan. I was a huge Typo Negative fan. I was a huge Opeth fan. But I also like it almost has to be genre specific, right? Because I loved a lot of the stuff out of the 90s grunge scene, like Smashing Pumpkins and
Same.
Alice in Chains
Mhm.
and Soundgarden. But I also enjoyed a lot of European black metal, like Cradle of Filth and Dimmu Borgir and Emperor and Marduk and Catatonia, right? So I don't know, man. There's how do you pick
His top
one
50.
favorite? Yeah, exactly. That's it. And then that's only talking on rock and metal, right? We could talk about the techno that I like and the rappers that I like and the pop singers that I like and the singer songwriter kind of folky guys that I like. You know, it's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
What about you, AP?
Favorite genre, favorite bands. When I was growing up,
Iron Maiden.
I mean, I literally started with Iron Maiden. It was my first heavy metal
Nice.
band that made me pick up bass. Okay, actually, a friend of mine made me pick up bass because I wanted to pick up guitar. But then this friend of mine was like, "No, dude, you have to play bass because there are no bass players. If you pick up a bass, you're gonna find the band right away." So I okay, well, I pick up the bass. So that's how we started. And then I actually start to love the bass right after. But at the beginning, I wanted to be a guitar player. But yeah, Iron Maiden. But then I jumped quickly in like thrash by area, like from Metallica to Testament and all that kind of stuff. And then I went to death metal. Then from death metal to grindcore. And then I had to took it back a little bit because there was nothing heavier than that. So I what did I do? Then I start to listen to like different genre, you know. But do you want a band? Do you want like a band? Like,
Well, that's the question: is what was y'all's favorite band growing up?
I would say, okay, let's give Metallica.
Metallica. If I had to answer for you, I would have said either Iron Maiden, Metallica, or Faith No More.
Oh, Faith No More was a big one too. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Korn.
And Korn, yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Nobody can ever pick just one anymore. Nobody can ever answer that question anymore. You know, it's just too many.
Too many. But
Yeah.
you know, there are only few bands that they literally change your entire life or view about music, you know. And that one was actually Metallica for sure, like the first one, Metallica.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome. You guys, I would love to keep going, but we do got to go ahead and close this up for the night. Thank you so much for coming here
Thank
and
you.
making the time
Yep,
and
thanks for having-
spending it with me and all the fans. Do you have any advice for any future musicians who might be interested in joining into the metal life?
Yeah, like we said, don't give up.
Yeah.
Expect to work hard, right? It's not all fun and games, this rock and roll thing. Actually, speaking of that, I gotta talk. I saw this other meme. They've got these memes out there that are like what people think backstage is like, and it's like a crazy party scene. And then look what
I've seen
it's-
memes like this. Yes.
yeah, what it's really like. So the most recent one I saw, it's like the party scene at the top, and then
Right.
on the bottom one, it's like 4 dudes in their 50s all sitting on road cases. And I saw that shit. I had to blow it up to see if I knew them. They're like, do I know these guys?
Did you?
No, I didn't, but almost. It looked like some dudes I could have known. But yeah, man, it's not just the glory is the hour you get on stage, right? Is playing
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
But yeah, be prepared to work hard and fucking don't quit. Quitting's the only way to guarantee you don't win.
Yeah. And make sure you're surrounded by people you love and you trust. Otherwise, it's just a fucking.
Yeah.
Loving and trusting.
Brandy's saying take lessons with those guys.
Yep, that's true. Take lessons with us.
She would be. That's coming from a personal opinion because she's doing it.
That's
She's
true.
learning- she's learning from the best.
She's been a very strong supporter of helping me promote this stuff. I did a video earlier this week where I stole the scene from Ace Ventura 2 where the guy's standing on the pole and he's got to stand there for like 24 hours or whatever. He's good. With my help, he could be the best. So I stole that as my new promo for taking lessons with me. You're good, but with my help, you could be the best.
That's great. Well, guys,
I'm also hilarious. In case you didn't.
Yes,
know.
you are. You know what? You were having me cracking up for like 15 minutes before we
Fucking
went live,
hilarious.
So everyone, keep your ears peeled. The first single off their next album is going to be released June 25th, and at least 5 singles by the end of the year before they release that album next year. So we got to start paying attention, and of course, Savages will take care of that. We're going to put that up there too.
Spread the word. It'll be called
Absolutely.
Primordial is the first single.
Primordial?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. So everyone pay attention to that June 25th again. Thank you again, AP and Aaron, for joining me tonight. We really appreciate that, and definitely would love to talk to you again very soon.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone, thank you for joining us. Mad love and respect. Take care.
Bye.